Hi, my name is Tina. I telling you my story about the Vietnamese War.
So, where were you born and raised?
I was born in Vietnam in a middle city called Da Nang, and I raised until I was 16 years old.
The conflict and how is it affecting you?
North Vietnam is communist and the South Vietnam is not. And I was born and raised in a little city between South and North. It's called Da Nang. And we experience a lot of things going on in the city, and it's very hard to live. Our family live like a normal life. A lot of, you know, not bomb, but it's rocket. When they shoot the rocket, we have to go and hide underneath of the ground, and a lot of like bomb around the city. So a lot of people got killed, and in fact, that my cousin got killed in the war. He was in the army when I was 9 years old, and it's a really bad experience for me. And also, my brother-in-law was got killed in the war too. When my sister pregnant, the first baby, and they was like married the first year, and they passed away. He died. So that's really hard experience.
Okay. How did you go to the USA?
Okay, so my dad decided to leave the country because he doesn't like communists. So he get together with another 6 family at the church, and they bought a fishing boat, and we got a permission from the government that we're gonna go to another island to um, feed help food for the other people. So we powered up with all the food on the boat. So with the permission, so we go on out of the Pacific Ocean um, to go to Australia because we planning to escape to Australia. But when we got into Pacific Ocean, we saw a big ship, American Navy ship, and all of little fishing boat around it. So they tried to get on the American ship uh, boat. So my dad asked permission from the U.S. Navy that we can climb on the boat too. So they did. So we got on to American Navy boat. That's how we escaped out of the country.
Oh. And what was your most vivid experience throughout this journey?
When I got on the boat, and it's because of a lot of little boats who are around the American ship, so they cannot get on the boat anymore. So American Navy ship, they put down the ground with the net, a big net, so people can climb on and wrap the net and climb on, you know, wrap on the net, so they can get on American boat with the grain. But a lot of people got dropped off to the sea. A lot of kids, a lot of babies, a lot of old people that couldn't wrap on the boat, wrap on the net. So they dropped down on the sea. It's very sad to see that um, people people died that way. And there is one old lady that sat on the little ship, and nobody helping her, and her ship is little boat just gradually shoot out further out, and she calling for help, nobody helped her, and she just shoot it out gradually and died. Both sinking. That's the most sad experience in my life. See all
Your experience that affected you today?
My experience is the hardest is to leave the country. We was have a big house and we live in very comfortable life. Um, Even so during the war, but we have left everything behind and leave. So we don't have nothing when we land on an American boat. We left everything behind, just a pair of clothes on our body and no money because we lost everything. That's so from now when I think it back, I don't take anything for granted. Whatever you have in this life, you have to appreciate it, and it's very hard to see people die in the war. And people die, drop off the sea. It's very hard. And when we can't hear, we have nothing. We have to start of beginning. But everybody in my family is successful now, and thanks God, thank for this country, make us to have a second chance to live my life.
Where and when did you grow up during the time around the World War II?
I was born in the Newark, New Jersey, New York area. To a family, my father was a rabbi, very active in the Jewish community. And I remember that when I was 11 years old, World War II broke out on September 1st, 1939, when Hitler and the German Wehrmacht invaded Poland. And we felt at that time that this was a very, very dangerous period for our people.
When did World War II and the Holocaust begin to affect you at a personal level?
Well, it affected us immediately. We had heard about the anti-Semitism and the racial policies of the Nazi Party, which came into being under Adolf Hitler in the 1930s. And we were afraid that that would continue. So it began to affect us with a great deal of anxiety. We tried very hard to get our relatives out of Europe without success, and gradually we began getting letters from different ghettos and concentration camps in Germany, in Poland. And we were very, very alarmed, and we were particularly alarmed because in this country there were people very sympathetic towards the Germans. There was, for instance, the American Nazi Bund that had a lot of young people who would parade around Newark in stormtroopers' uniforms, and we were basically frightened and very anxious.
Okay. What is like the most personal experience do you think you have?
Well, the personal experience, I guess, is those years of living with all these stories and rumors and of bloodshed and people dying and not hearing from anybody that we knew and loved, and there were very many. There were dozens and dozens of relatives that we just lost complete track of. But for me, the most vivid memory of the Holocaust didn't come at that point. It became many years later when we were visiting Eastern Europe, and I had the opportunity to go to the concentration camp at Auschwitz-Birkenau, and that emotionally just tore me apart. It was seeing the awful barracks where they were crowded like sardines, actually seeing the ovens where people were burned, seeing the gas chambers where people were put to death under the most unhuman type of conditions. That emotionally just tore me apart.
I'm sorry. how do you think, like, when you look back at it now, how did it affect your life? Like, what is something that you take with you
Well, it
today?
severely affected my life, being a student of history and knowledgeable about Jewish affairs. It taught me that racism and genocide is something that we live with, and that we have to fight on every level. Whether it happens in Africa, whether it happens in the Middle East, whether it happens in Russia or even in our country, because there are people in our country that are racist. And we fought a civil war where people who were black were considered inferior, and there were many people that felt that that black society, black people were inferior, and they should be wiped out. So I mean, it's a continual struggle where we have to fight any doctrine that names another ethnic group or religious group or racial group as being undesirable and tries to exterminate them.
Yeah.
Here you go.
All right. Well, how should we commemorate the Holocaust? Well, first of all, it should be taught about and mentioned as part of the historical background that students and young people are subjected to. Because if you don't learn from history, you're bound to repeat it. And even now, that's what we call Holocaust deniers. People, for instance, in certain Middle Eastern countries say it never happened, and there's no proof of it. I think the proof of it is in places like Devat Hashem in Jerusalem, which we'll be visiting soon, that has the whole story of the Holocaust and the physical evidence of it. It has the railway cars, it has piles and piles of children's shoes, those that were executed, the hair of people that were taken from them, their teeth, or just horrible physical evidence, and also something that we learned, for instance, that the machines that were used in German concentration camps for data management were made by IBM, and the ovens were made to specification by factories in Germany with exact details. Also, everybody, I think, should at one time or another go to the Holocaust Museum in Washington, where again there is overwhelming graphic and very touching memorial to those things. I mean, to sit in a room where hundreds of children that are no longer with us can be very heart-wrenching.
Thank you so much for letting me interview you.
About your rich experiences.
Yeah, your rich
Well, it was
experiences.
a privilege to speak to a young person like yourself
Thank you.
and help you understand what us older people went through. Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you.